Hi there, we're back to talk about magnetic fields. What are magnetic fields and how do they affect us? Some of them good, some of them bad, and perhaps maybe how can we protect ourselves against this new electrical soup that we all live in the digital, modern, Aquarian age? Yes. How can we talk about a little bit of the spectrum of energy we're exposed to and what effect does that have on us?
Okay.
I mean, there's millions of things written on the internet about it, but can you simplify it for the average person who needs to know what does it mean for me?
That's right. And a lot of people are confused because pulsating or electromagnetic fields in general, there are some characteristics about electromagnetic fields because we have no organ to detect electromagnetic fields. So our body doesn't know which frequency or which electromagnetic fields harm us and which heal us. The body doesn't know. And electromagnetic fields penetrate through anything. And the fact that we can't hear them, see them, or smell them does not mean that they don't have an impact on our body.
So the invisible penetration without a measurement tool to know what the impact is has left us in somewhat of a vulnerable position of all these different wavelengths of different, in a different soup of wavelengths. Some helpful and some harmful.
Right. So, you know, when we look at cell phones, microwaves, Wi-Fi, there's an entire industry built around electromagnetic fields, which, like you referred to as dirty electricity, and they penetrate the cell, into the cell wall.
We know that they work because my cell can talk to yours invisibly without a wire between it.
That's right.
But there's a signal going on a channel, and the channel is tuned to a different wavelength.
Right.
And different wavelengths operate different machineries, and human wavelengths might not match microwave frequencies or radiation of X-ray machines. So we're all in different bandwidths, if you will.
Correct.
Or notes on the piano. We operate at different notes on the piano.
Right.
And some notes are healthier than others, right?
Right. And that is determined by the natural frequency. So the magnetic field of the Earth, including our human cells, have a natural frequency. So the spectrum of natural frequency, which you can read up at, it's called the Allie window, which simply states that human cells are within a biological window of human cell frequencies, which range from anywhere from 0.5 to 30 hertz. So I want everyone...
The human cell itself vibrates on the bandwidth of 0.5 to 30 hertz.
Yes.
So cellular integrity.
That's right.
That's a low vibrational rate.
So when now I come and I offer natural frequencies, in essence, I mimic the magnetic field of the Earth or the frequency of your human cell frequency within 0.5 and 30 hertz, and I offer this frequency to you. Now your cells resonate with that frequency.
The harmonic concordance, the resonance of one tuning fork, which makes the other one of a similar nature ring the same.
Right.
The reason why clocks all put into a same room all start ticking in the same.
Exactly.
So when you expose me to that natural tuning fork or pitch pipe, my orchestra pit tunes itself up to that.
That's right. So now I tune all your cells.
Lovely. Simultaneously.
Simultaneously.
Effortlessly and non-invasive.
Non-invasive. No side effects. Because if there were any side effects, you could not live on this planet. Yet, I take it to the other spectrum, and you are exposed to cell phones, Wi-Fi in your house.
Which are much, much higher hertz level.
Right. A cell phone could be like 800 gigahertz. So it's way out of the range of human cell frequencies. If you could hear the impact, if your cell phone, instead of you just simply talking, it would pound at you all the time and hurt, how long would it take until you stop using it? And there's a thermal effect and there's a non-thermal effect. Thermal effect meaning if I talk for a long time on my cell phone, you know, this side of your head begins to warm up. That is the thermal effect. But there's a much deeper effect in the cell, in the human cell, and it impairs cell function. So in simple terms, exposure to Wi-Fi, exposure, even if you live close to a cell phone tower, you know, the frequencies that are being emitted penetrate. They even penetrate through walls, and they impair your cell function. So when you're exposed to them, your cells don't function at their optimal level. That is so important to understand.
So if we're not functioning at optimum cellular function, we might not be discharging the waste products and building up a toxic load over time that may not necessarily be directly related to the cell phone tower or the extra EMF that we're getting, but it is over time cumulative poison in the soup.
That's right.
And the organs of filtration can get to a threshold where they're saturated with too much incoming new poisons with cellular exhaustion that can't cope with it on the factory assembly line.
That's right.
And then we end up living with deposition of diseases and toxins in the body causing us to tip out.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah.
I finally get it.
Right.
So it only takes 0.5 to 30 hertz for cellular harmonic concordance. That's a very low frequency.
Absolutely. It's non-dangerous.
It's also
natural.
the frequencies of viruses down there in the 20 hertz range.
That's right.
And it's the cellular frequency of hydrogen is 1 hertz. So we're right down to the electron level of the body here.
That's right.
Can I just understand then that is the cell wall itself got a charge of 70 millivolts when it's healthy, and the range of frequency coming off of it like a microphone is 0.5 to 30 hertz. And if we can reproduce 70 millivolts and 30 hertz, our cells start in this kind of happy-go-lucky play gym with that equipment. We start vibrating like that and start laughing and giggling in our cellular level.
It's the Energizer Bunny.
I see. So
Natural Energizer Bunny for your cells. And
so you're plugging in and recharging every cell.
right. So what happens now when our cells work at their optimum level is very simple. Because now we have a membrane potential. Let's compare this to unhealthy cells that are exposed to electrosmog, look like raisins, shriveled, and they stick together. Healthy cells look like grapes. They have a full membrane potential.
I see.
So now what can happen, and they also don't stick together, they flow freely. So now what can happen is, you know, the cell can actually absorb the nutrients, the oxygen, it can carry the oxygen,
The charge
tissue,
of oxygen.
organs, right? It can eliminate the toxins and waste products.
And maintain the cellular pH through the sodium ATP pump so the cell can remain with its own self-regulatory gates.
That's right.
So now all the gates to the castle can work and let the good in and the bad out.
Beautiful. Yes, you get it.
Wow,
Right.
so really electrical forces which run the gates of our body depend on certain specific exact frequencies and millivolts per power. That's called the bioterrain of each cell. And when those are in the correct pH for oxygen, the correct grounding and water content, the cell looks like a nice full grape. That's called the phase angle in medicine. And if the phase angle is 8 or 10, you don't get sick. If your phase angle falls below 6 and you're shriveling up like a little raisin, your cells are sick and craving some help. This is where we can now bring the modern medicine tools to bring measurements and then bring solutions. Stay tuned. We want to talk about some solutions to this issue.